Welcome everybody to the Tea with Ms McGill Show, fueled by Blue Line Brews. It is Puka, it is Reed Larson, it is our special guest. But first, a quick word from Blue Line Brews. So you've kind of seen these guys before. We've talked about them a lot. 10% of profits go back to families who have experienced the unfortunate incident of perhaps a fallen officer or an injured officer. So it's a great coffee with a good cause. Detective Special right here, got 3 different blends. Go to bluelinebrews.com, check that out. We also have the K-Cups there. In checkout, save 15 for promo code. Will save you 15%. They'll ship this stuff right to you. If you want to support the men and women in blue, also go to their Instagram, Facebook, follow their social channels. That would be great. In addition, you can find some of their coffee on the shelf. So like I said, take a real good look at that logo. Stores in Bemidji, across the Iron Range, Twin Ports, and northern Wisconsin. Select stores have the Blue Line Brews there. So a big thanks to bluelinebrews.com for everything they're doing for the Tea with Ms McGill Show. Again, it's Puka, it's Reed Larson. We have our special guest, Will Troutwine. Talk a little hockey here, 100% stud. Right here from Evelyn. We're back at the Ring Sports Bar and Grill, or at the, not back at the, we're at the Ring Sports Bar and Grill for the first time. So we're having a good time here. We got the little locker setting here. So Reed, why don't you go ahead and fire away, and we'll get to know Will just a little bit.
Yeah, it's, I guess, nice little homecoming to be able to swing here back into the Iron Range area. It's nice to drive through Virginia and come into E-Town here. We've talked a lot on the podcast over the last year of the combination of Evelyn and Virginia. Obviously some other co-ops involved in that, but the 2 big programs, Evelyn and Virginia, to combine to make the Rock Ridge Wolverines. But I guess my question for you, Will, is as a former Evelyn Golden Bear, Gilbert Golden Bear, that rivalry between Evelyn and Virginia, what did that mean to you going through youth hockey through high school?
So you're just talking kind of like how the rivalry was and like kind of experiencing that. So I don't know. I mean, every time we played Virginia, it was a really big game for us. I mean, on the ice, we were really big rivals, but off the ice, we were friends with all the guys too. But it was still like we would look forward to every game. It would just make it that much more important. And I guess just going through it through all the levels, it was, like I said, it was a pretty important game. It was really fun for us all the time. So
yeah, it's one of those things where there's so many years of it, and it's I guess it's difficult to understand sometimes for maybe some of the younger kids, now coming through the program through Evelyn Virginia programs, and then starting to combine some of their youth hockey into Rock Ridge youth hockey and into Rock Ridge high school hockey. I think it's hard for some of the younger kids to understand the decades and decades of history of the things that you see when you walk into what I like to call the museum at the Hippodrome. Yeah. You take a look and see all the history that's there. And no longer is the minors up over in Virginia, but when you walk in there, you feel an air of history when you walked in there too. Mm-hmm. So a lot don't understand that history of rivalry between the two. I can talk about the rivalry just because of being the former Virginia hockey coach, and in every single game, it didn't matter if Evelyn was better or Virginia was better. You knew you were going to get a fight, and it was always fun to play those games for me. Talk about now just kind of getting into, and we'll get a little bit more into your career here, into juniors in just a minute. But now that the two are combined, do you have any feelings towards that? I mean, you're out of the area, you're playing, but you're still from Evelyn. Do you have any feelings towards Rock Ridge?
Yeah, so there's kind of both ways. I mean, it's kind of different, I guess, seeing that they're combined now, but I think it's exciting too to have such like just great rich teams coming together. Like I feel like it'll make they'll become such a better team. They'll be competing a lot harder, I feel like, with all the more players coming in. I know for me, when I was somewhere last year's, there wasn't as many players coming out, so I feel like maybe not Virginia side, I guess, I didn't know, but I think now it helps with the competition for some of the better players. There's more people competing for spots. I feel like that'll help players be that much better in pushing themselves. Like I said, it'll be different, like not seeing a single Golden Bear Blue Devil team, obviously different. It'll take some getting used to, but I mean, I feel like they can definitely make it work, and I think it'll turn out pretty well. So
yeah, I mean, there's a piece of your heart, a piece of your heart goes with the Evelyn Gilbert Golden Bears. A piece of my heart still goes with the Virginia Blue Devils. Mm-hmm. But it's a new time, it's a new era, it's the era of the Rock Ridge Wolverines, and it's exciting to see for young people, because I think it's only going to continue to create opportunities for people from this area. Roger?
Well, so what was it? Reed, you were on the call. The overtime game, the packed house, the playoff game with you guys, was that 4 years ago, 5 years ago?
That was my junior year.
So what do you remember about that game? That was one of the most exciting recent high school hockey games. I was watching it online. They said, Reed, you were on the call. Great atmosphere, great game. What do you remember about that?
I guess it's hard to remember. It was like 3 years ago, but I just remember how many people are in the stadium and just the atmosphere there was pretty crazy. There's the noise in there and kind of like the importance of the game even added to that. But I don't know, I guess we did end up losing, so maybe not as strong memories as I remember, but it's not as bad anymore. I mean, I just remember it was really fun and it was a great game.
Well, there was nothing better than playing those games. I mean, like I said, I grew up playing in Grand Rapids where, we were in front of, 2,500 to 3,000 fans most nights we were there. But there was something about coaching in Virginia when it was Evelyn is making the trip over to the minors or Virginia's making the trip over to the Hippodrome, and the building is packed, and there might not be as many people as there is at the IRA Civic Center, but it is wall to wall. People, I can just see it. I've got pictures in my phone from back in 2014, 2015, 16, when when I was coaching in that time frame where the building has got 2,200 fans in it and it's just completely packed. And there's something about it because they were just two communities that are intermixed. There's so many people from Evelyn that work over in Virginia and so many people from Virginia that work over in the mines over here, and they're talking all day long. And I can just remember the text messages that I would get all week. It seemed that the first game of the season between Evelyn and Virginia was always like a Saturday in December. It's like December 14th, and it was always here first. And then it would go to us over in Virginia later on in the season at maybe like mid-January. And it was the whole scuttlebutt the entire week. We maybe played on Tuesday night, but it's like that game didn't even matter because everybody was talking about it all week long until we got to Saturday, and there was kids talking smack over Snapchat and all the social media. And it's fun, good high school rivalry. And it's sad to see it go, like we said before, but I think the opportunities that are ahead for these kids to be able to combine some of the talents, like you said, there are years there where Virginia had some really small numbers, some years where, Evelyn had some really small numbers. And I think about some of the teams that, we had success with when I was in Virginia in 2014. If we had some of those kids from Evelyn that were on that team in 2014 that were mixed with some of the guys that we had, there would have been no question that we would have beat Hermantown to go to the state tournament. We would have been so good back in those days. And it was just, those times are ahead of us here in the next couple of years where, Coach Johnson is doing a really good job of getting, there's been challenges trying to get some of that culture to be able to get people to buy into the idea. And we've always said that the kids aren't going to have a problem with combining the programs. It's not the kids, it's the parents, it's the old people of the community that are like, we don't want to lose our identity, but your identity is important, folks, but let's think about our kids. And I think that's the important piece, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. For the kids, I guess, at least for my age, I don't think any of us, if there was had any problems, any of the players on the Virginia team, we're all friends off the ice for the most part. So, I mean, I feel like I haven't asked Nick a lot too, but I feel like they had a good experience this year. They didn't have too many issues, I feel like. So
no, and from what I've heard from Coach, it's just trying to get everybody in the community to buy into, combining things. The kids were fine on the ice. It's the culture is setting something up new. You're starting a brand new program. That part of it's a challenge, but it seemed to me that it got mid-season and things were in high swing for Rockridge, and they were happy and excited to be a Wolverine.
Yeah, I think so. Let's take a quick pause. Minnesota hockey camps.
Yeah, Minnesota hockey camps. Breezy Point, Minnesota. They're getting things underway here. A few weeks into their camps over there in Breezy Point. They're on the ice twice a week. Like we said before, they're under new ownership over the course of the last 2 years. Chris Stewart, former Minnesota Wild player, Tony Masieri, Craig Larson, the three ownership groups that are involved in there. They're underway. They've got, like we said, if you're looking for a great place to sign up, they've still got some openings over the course of the next couple of weeks. Minnesota hockey camps, you can check it out online. Check out their Instagram, their Twitter, and their Facebook page as well.
Yeah. All right. So I want to move on to the Hockeyland documentary. So for those of you, we talked a little bit about it on the show, this winter, but the documentary I don't know where it's at as far as progress. Do you know?
Yeah, so they came out with like kind of smaller select screenings for it, but I think I just got a text from Tommy, who was the head producer, I think, of the thing.
Tommy Haynes.
Yep, and he said they're coming to theaters in September sometime, so it's pretty soon coming up.
Okay.
They'll be available for everyone.
Yeah, awesome. So you're one of the main deals in there. You know,
Yeah.
they follow you a lot. Just the whole experience. What was it like? Was it what you expected? You were kind of happy with the way it kind of came out because they do a ton of edits. You
Yeah,
know, I mean,
oh, yeah.
I kind of know I've been through that world before. So,
Yeah.
what was the overall experience with Hockeyland?
I mean, it was a little different at first, I guess, from the beginning of the season, but I mean, all the guys that were filming and the guys that followed us around, they're all super nice, and they just made it super easy for all of us. They weren't like intruding too much with the camera work and everything. They were just being out of the way as much as possible. And like, even when they weren't filming, they were just great people to hang out with. But then once again, like you said, the amount of video work, when I did see one of the screenings, the amount of video they did and the amount they had to edit it down into is actually pretty crazy. Like, I was pretty impressed with that.
Yeah, they're just waiting for that right moment. Right?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
You know, I remember the one scene where I think you're on your computer. I don't know if you were doing some college online,
Yeah,
researching
yeah,
college,
yeah.
you know, and I remember thinking, you know, they got whatever, 300 hours of all this stuff, and here he is just typing on a
Yeah.
keyboard. They could have got that done in 5 minutes.
I
You know what I
know,
mean?
I know.
But it's, you know, like I said, I've kind of been through that world a little bit. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, really cool doc for you guys to check out. And so you said select theaters in September. That's really cool.
Yep.
So go ahead, Reed.
Yeah, look forward to that. So let's kind of dig into, you know, what's taken place a little bit after high school for you. You've moved on to the Janesville Jets. You've been there now. You're going on to your third season at Janesville Jets.
Yep.
You were drafted here back in May to Des Moines Buccaneers, but your season is going to continue on with Janesville. Talk about that junior hockey experience.
Well, first I'll go with like just the play on ice, like the on ice part. I mean, compared to high school hockey in Minnesota is really great, but just jumping up in juniors with the older kids, it is a pretty big difference. But you definitely get used to it especially after my first season. It was, I guess, a little bit of an adjustment period.
Yeah.
But that second season, I could definitely tell like my play just kind of jumped up once I got used to playing in that level. And then off ice, it's different. Like anyone going to college too, being away from home for the first year, it is different. But
Yeah.
my billet family I lived with down there was super nice, and they provided everything I could have needed there. And the teammates and coaches, I think everything down there was just set up really great at Janesville. Like, I couldn't have asked for a better spot to be at. It just helped me just be comfortable and be as like good a player as I could have been in that spot. So
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a league too, you know, just kind of informing people that are listening, you know, people looking into what do I want to do after high school, being able to get on into junior hockey. There's in the United States, there's really 3 levels of junior hockey. There's tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. Tier 1 is the USHL. Tier 2 is the North American Hockey League. And tier 3, there's a number of different versions of that around. That I guess the most well-known is the NA3HL, which is kind of pay to play. And I guess the way that works is tier 1, you don't have to pay for anything, right? You go off to the USHL, they all but pay you to play the game. You don't have to worry about paying billets. You don't have to worry about your housing. You don't have to worry about equipment, skates, none of that. So everybody's goal is to want to go on to the USHL and play hockey because most players coming out of there play Division I, and it doesn't come out of your pocket. Like I said, all but pay you to play. And then you move on to tier 2, which is kind of the next version down. However, the 2 leagues compete for players, right? You start looking at tier 1, sometimes you get 16, 17, 18-year-old kids. In fact, there's more younger kids in that league.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
And then you get into the North American Hockey League where, okay, you can only carry so many 20-year-olds in a USHL team.
Yep.
So they want to start taking some of these 20-year-olds that maybe aren't going to be their top players, start taking them into the North American Hockey League. So the North American League is an older league. The kids are older, bigger, and stronger. Sometimes they play maybe more of a physical game than they do in the USHL. But that tier now, you don't have to worry about paying a tuition to play, but you have to pay for your housing, which can depend on what team you're with in the organization, anywhere from $350 to $400 a month, and that's what it costs you. And that really goes to that billet family that is able to pay for your housing.
Yeah. Yep.
All those calories.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
They fed me really well.
Did they feed you?
Oh yeah.
And then,
do you ever keep track of that? Like how many calories you eat? Is that something to think? I mean, I know nutrition's got to be so huge.
Not so much calories, just kind of like what kind of foods I'm eating, more attention to. But
Yeah, and then you get into, I guess, the tier 3 level, it's the next level down, and everybody's thinking, well, if I'm not going to make it the North American League, I'm just not going to play hockey. And some people's thought process is I don't want to spend $6,000 on a tuition, and then also have to pay $300 or $400 a month to my billet family. But it's an opportunity for some to maybe start at a junior level to get a year of experience, and then hopefully get into that tier 2 or tier 1 scenario. So junior hockey, completely different landscape. It gives people a place to go to, but you were fortunate enough and have earned your stripes to be able to play in that tier 2 level right away, right out of the gate.
Yep.
Like we said, you were drafted by Des Moines this last spring. That didn't work out, but you're happy and more than happy to be able to go back to Janesville. But moving on to the future, you got this next year, right? You've got this year to play for Janesville, but you've made a recent college commitment, correct?
Yes, the Holy Cross in April, I believe. So
Yeah, so I was just checking through the old Twitter feeds and saw your signing day back in April. You signed with Holy Cross, an Eastern, I guess, MAC League. Back in the day when I was playing college hockey, it was they call it the MAC League. Now they probably changed the name of the league, but it's an Eastern Eastern League. It was newly deemed Division I when I was playing college hockey.
Yeah,
now it's
early 2000s.
Yeah, it's been 20 years now, and they've had Division I hockey there, which is phenomenal. And you're looking forward to playing out there.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I did visit right before I ended up committing, and it's a great campus. The coaches are all really nice, and I like the direction that they are having for the team. So I'm excited after this next year of juniors to go and start there.
Who's the coach out there?
His name's Bill Riga, and the assistants Eric Sorensen and Caston Summer. But yeah, they are all really nice, and I'm excited to go work with them in a couple of years.
Well, here's the coolest thing about Holy Crosses, and maybe just you guys can refresh my memory, but was it 4 or 5 years ago where the Gophers were playing Holy Cross in the first round of the NCAA tournament, and everybody was expecting the Gophers to be in the Frozen Four and playing for a national championship, and Holy Cross came in and upset them?
I know. I thought it was a lot longer than that, but I know there was a time when Holy Cross. I was going to bring that up. I think Holy Cross.
I can't remember the year. I feel like it was 4 or 5 years ago, but it might have been longer.
I think one of my friends said it was like 2005 or something.
Oh my God.
I thought it was a while ago.
4 or 5 years ago.
And I think it was the first round. I think they knocked them in the first round.
What was the first round
would
of
have
the
been
NCAA
number one,
tournament?
and they would have been like whatever.
See, sometimes when you're old like me, the years just keep flying by, and I can't remember. But they did. Holy Cross did upset the Minnesota Gophers. They were expected to win the whole thing that year.
Right.
Holy Cross goes in, knocks them out in the first round. Here we go.
Don't ask fellow Grand Rapidsian Alex Goligoski about
I'm not going to
that.
ask.
Is that a word, Grand Rapidsian?
Oh yeah, he was there. He was on that Gopher team.
right.
Yes, he was.
Real quick, we're going to get this in. Like I said, Ring Sports Bar and Grill, we're here. Full menu, as you can see, both sides, daily specials, 248. Where's my eyes are getting bad. 248-8582. If you want to call in an order, the Ring Sports Bar and Grill.com is where you can get it online. Like I said, we're just down from the United States Hockey Hall of Fame. So the Ring Sports Bar and Grill, if you're in this area, the Quad Cities, come pay them a visit.
Go ahead, Raj. You got a few questions.
Well, I was going to say, so, Reed and I are friends, Coach Terrell. Obviously, he was your coach during your time here in Evelyn. Any good stories, any funny stories, anything memorable about Coach Terrell?
Nothing in particular. Maybe sometimes coming to the locker room, some of his pregame speeches got us pretty excited. I can't.
Oh, he was good at that.
Yeah, well, yeah. Some of them were pretty good. We would. I know some of our players, they would always yell, "We're gonna get juiced" or whatever, and they start yelling around. I remember one time he came in, he screamed that to us. He got pretty hyped up, but I don't know. There's a lot. I just can't think of any in particular right now. It was a lot of fun with him.
Yeah. I seemed like he had a good camaraderie with all the kids, because you can see that in the documentary. So that's where I got that from. So
Coach Terrell and I always had a really good relationship. You'd think that the guy next door that you're coaching against, you'd think that, battle, and you don't get along. But Coach Terrell and I play golf in the summertime together. We'd always have our summer teams playing against each other in the back rink over in Virginia, or stepping on the ice at the Hippodrome in the summertime and running camps together. And Coach Terrell always coached for the right reasons. He did it for the love of the game. He did it for the love of competition, and he did it because of the big heart that he had for the Evelyn Golden Bears. And you would go to bat and go to war for any one of you guys, just like most coaches would for theirs. So a ridiculous amount of respect for Coach Terrell and our friendship over the years.
So obviously we're in the off season here. It's summertime. So what are you doing? You got a workout plan from Janesville, from Holy Cross. You're working with a trainer. How often are you on the ice? It's kind of what are you doing this off season?
Okay, so I don't really have any workout plans from Janesville or Holy Cross right now, but I do have a trainer I work out with.
Okay.
And I usually work out 4 to 5 times a week with him. And then he does a great job. I really like all the workouts. And then I go down to finding ice is kind of hard in the summer. I know they have it in the MEC now, but I can't, it's kind of hard to schedule a time for it.
Okay.
So I go down to Superior and Cloquet a lot with a couple. There's a guy I go to in Superior. I've been going to him for like 4 or 5 years. He just runs pretty cheap ice and he gives drills and stuff for us. I like that a lot. And then Cloquet, we've been going to someone too. His name's me and my brother's. His name's Weston McCod. He was a former college hockey player. He's playing pro right now, but he finds ice a lot for us in Cloquet, and we go and skate with him and get some skates in. Yeah.
Well, you have to reach out. I know there's only a couple more days left of ice in Grand Rapids, but I know there's a group of guys that are junior and college level age guys that are playing right now, guys that are just graduating this last year, a few from a couple of years ago, and a couple of cameos every once in a while from Jake Bischoff and Blake McLaughlin. Some of those guys are stepping out on the ice. So reach out if you're in the next couple of days if you're looking to skate. So.
All right.
So, I did look at your roster in Janesville and I was really surprised with, you guys have like almost every state represented. There was only a couple, maybe 3 of you Minnesotans, and it was much different, during Reed and I era. And what's that like? And maybe you knew some of these guys previous to that because there's so much hockey, like all-stars type hockey. But how does that mix? How does that gel? And is it kind of cool? Like you hear stories from a guy from Rhode Island or something. I was really, really surprised.
Oh, it's really interesting hearing stuff from the guys. I was the only one from Minnesota on the team this year.
Okay.
So, but yeah, we got guys from all over and out of country. We had guys from Canada, one from Russia, one from Slovakia, one from Sweden this year.
Wow.
Really interesting hearing stories from all of them about what it's like living back in where they're from. And being with the guys from everywhere coming together, it's always fun, like hanging out with them, doing different things. It's just, I had a great time. It's really fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I guess this would be a good opportunity maybe for me to have you kind of speak to the young ones that still have their chance to put on that high school jersey here. I'm sure you still got, I guess, friends of people you grew up in Evelyn and maybe some over in Virginia, maybe some in the area. What is something or some advice from a former Minnesota high school hockey player now playing juniors, looking to go on to Division I? What's some advice you'd give a young player here with their time remaining?
I think just work as hard as you can and just remember sometimes it is in the end just a game. Like don't be too hard on yourself. If you don't make a team or something, like don't tear yourself apart, just keep going. I know there's some teams I didn't make, and maybe at the beginning I was kind of got too upset at myself, and I just realized like just keep going hard and see where you can go. Like don't get too hard on yourself.
Yeah, there's only so much you can control, right? Yeah. You can control 2 things for sure. You can control your attitude, and you can control your own work ethic, and those are things that are choices. It's a choice whether you're going to have a foul attitude and go out and and be upset about something, or it's your choice to go out and not work out or not hit the ice during the off season or not hit the gym, or it's your choice to be lazy when you play. And but those are the 2 things you can control. And if you work hard, you have a good attitude, you put your mind to something. That's one of those things, I guess, that you can never take for granted. I just think back to the days of putting on the jersey in high school, and how important it was to me to wear that GR on front of my jersey, and how big of a deal it was to everybody that was, going through that Grand Rapids hockey program. And I'm sure, you feel the same way. It was important. You grow up as a kid skating at the rink here outside. You grow up walking through the halls of Evelyn schools, and you think about how important that is to be a Golden Bear. Take those opportunities and live life with pride for whatever team you play for.
Yep.
All right, real quick word. Iron Range Apparel, Thunderbird Mall. Call it the gift buyer's paradise. They got a little bit of everything for everybody. Their exclusive line of the ODR, exclusive provider, of the ODR line. Hockey stuff, t-shirts, sweatshirts, jerseys. I've talked about the Minnesota theme stuff. They got coffee cups, they got everything. They even have onesies. So I just had a buddy, and he's originally a Minnesota guy. They had a baby. They're out in Montana now. Shipped him out a onesie. They got the Ham's beer guy with the logo. That's kind of a big one. So if you're looking for a gift, male, female, adult, child, Iron Range Apparel, Thunderbird Mall, that's the place. That's your first place to look. Because like I said, it's a gift buyer's paradise. They got about something for everybody. All right. So Will, how tall are you?
I'm about 6'3", something around there. Yeah.
That's it? You're like 6'5", aren't you? You seem like a lot taller than 6'3", but
Maybe I look bigger. I don't know.
So who do you kind of like model your game after? Who's someone you kind of like say, like, I think I could be like that guy, or I want to kind of be like that guy or gal?
Yeah. So like, doesn't play anymore. When I was younger, I'm a big Red Wings fan. I used to like Nick Lidstrom a lot.
Yeah,
a great player,
good call.
lefty defenseman. He's probably one guy I look up to the most from players that have played in the NHL, I guess.
So any NHL scout actually ever talked to anybody? Has anybody ever kind of come around or?
No, not too much yet. I hope like in college I can do good there, and then see what happens after that, I guess. Yeah.
So what are you weighing in at?
Around 215 to 220, just between that. Yeah.
Is that kind of where you want to be, or you would try to get bigger? Or, I mean, because I know, let's see, Reed and I's era was always get bigger.
Yeah.
But now I saw Nate Pionk last month, and I said, "Gosh, you're looking lean." He said, "Well, I lost 8 pounds." So because the game is changing, you know. So are you kind of happy with where
I'm
you're
pretty
at?
happy where I'm at. Yeah, it allows me to get around pretty easy on the ice. I guess always I could put on more muscle and lose maybe some fat I have. I don't know. I don't have too much, but that always will help out with the skating and moving. So
Yeah, I feel like I could put on some more muscle and lose a couple of pounds of fat too.
Excuse me there. I said Nate Pionk's the cool Pionk. I meant Neil Pionk, but Nate, you are the cool one. So, all right, that's it for me. Anything else?
No, I think great conversation talking about, and I guess I suppose one more question. If I asked you to give some advice to some of the young people, but there's another area of youth sports, whether we're talking youth sports or we're talking high school hockey, where there's another group that maybe you as a player can give people some advice. So what kind of advice would you give to parents that are out there supporting their kids to play? It's kind of a touchy area sometimes in the game of hockey, right? You think about how parents are and how much they want good things for their kids. But at the same time, there's a time where parents maybe should back off and let their kids be kids and do their thing. What advice would you give? And I'm sure you've got some kudos to throw to your parents, right?
Oh yeah. So maybe some kids are different. I guess I wouldn't like as much if my parents were super hard on me, and they never have been. Like, they were always really supportive, and they didn't get involved too much, which I liked. So like, just like when I mean involved, I mean like yell, like getting angry or something. Like, they would just let me go and do my thing on the ice. That would just like, I feel like most kids would just like that from their parents, but I guess some might be different, but I feel like that would kind of be the way to go. Just kind of let them do their thing. Don't try to get too mad at them. They're just having fun out there. Just let them go play.
Yeah, absolutely. I think back to when I played, there were parents that got involved in trying to motivate their kids. There were parents that got involved with, trying to get in the coach's ear and try to put pressure on coaches. And I always used to have those conversations with my parents. It's like, listen, don't embarrass me.
Yeah.
It's fine if you want to yell at me for doing something. I realize that if I do something dumb, if I break my stick over the crossbar and that's going to cost me $100 because I busted aluminum over that, yell at me for doing something dumb, or yell at me because I took a stupid penalty that was embarrassing. But don't yell at me because we didn't win, or maybe I was lazy tonight sometimes that happens. Kids make mistakes. But the one thing I was told by parents is stay out of the coach's ear. Let me play. Let me talk to the coaches. And I think that's a good message. 100%.
That is definitely, I agree with that. I feel like coaches would like that too.
I'm sure they would. Yeah.
That's funny. You said breaking aluminum. He said, that's how old we are.
Does anybody know what an aluminum is anymore?
I haven't used them. I remember my Pee-wee coach would have an aluminum with a wood shaft in there.
Wood blade in there. I had the old Gretzky Easton.
Oh yeah, like chrome or whatever
well,
that was. Yeah.
It was pretty cool until I came in, and the initiation for me as a 9th grader was they were going to duct tape it to the ceiling in the locker room. When you peeled it off, it took the shiny stuff off of it. I was upset.
Oh yeah, totally. All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Will. We'll sign off here. That's it for episode 41 of the Two with Ms McGill Show. Please, like I said, please, hammer the like button, subscribe to the show. Like I said, we're on a monthly format here until the hockey season starts in high school. And then we go every week during the high school season. Feel free to comment. If you want to send us a private message, Goatsportsmediallc@gmail.com. If you dig the show, like I said, share it out to the hockey faithful. We got a little bit of merch. So if you're interested in merch, send us an email. We'll figure out a way to get it to you. Thanks to all of our sponsors, Blue Line Brews, the Ring Sports Bar and Grill, Iron Range Apparel, Minnesota Hockey Camps, Iron Range Goalie Academy. We are on Rumble now under Goat Sports. We are on Instagram under Tea with Ms. McGill. For Reed Larson, I am Puka. Get out there and be your dream. You're tuned to the Tea with Ms. McGill show.